name is Emmanuel Anzules. I am 30 years old. I was born in Peru. I moved to the States when I was 7. Growing up in Peru was hard. My mother and father weren't there. I grew up with my grandmother. It was difficult in the sense that I didn't have parental figures. You know, there's a difference when you grow up with your grandmother because she lets you do whatever it is that you want to do. There's no discipline whatsoever. So when I finally moved to the States with my parents, it was hard for me because I had to get accustomed to rules and, you know, the discipline that your parents would always enforce on you. As far as I can remember, I have always been attracted to boys or men as I got older. My earliest memory, I knew that I liked the little boys in my class. I knew that I didn't like girls. I would play with Barbies. I mean, that has nothing to do with my sexuality, but that was just my way of expressing it. And I think people caught on. My grandmother definitely knew, so she tried to keep me away from everyone. I was so sheltered. She would not let me play with anyone really, except for, you know, maybe the neighbor from downstairs or something. Other kids knew that I was different, you know, and there was always a stigma that gay was bad or gay was something to make fun of and ridicule. So having that idea in my head made it really difficult for me to be able to come to terms with the fact that I was indeed gay. So my first encounter with gayness was one of my uncles, my dad's brother, was gay, but he was also a drag queen. So he was very flamboyant, if you will. Like, he was very out there. He didn't care if people knew he was gay. But it was almost, his actions were very, in my mind, as a little boy, very animated and very lively. So that's what I thought gayness was. And I didn't see myself in that same way. So I didn't think for a little bit that I was gay, you know, because that was, in my head, the expectation of what gay was. And then we had a neighbor that was also gay, and he acted in the exact same way. There was another neighbor that was gay. So everybody in my head that was gay had to act and conform to this type of behavior. And it was very confusing to me because people didn't accept them, or people didn't really, they didn't like it when they were around. They thought they were funny, but they wouldn't really talk to them. It was almost like they were shunning them from the community in a way. I remember maybe the earliest time that I did speak to my mom about it, it was more like she was getting on me for being too feminine. So she would make me do things to make me more masculine. Like, she'll make me do a push-up, or, you know, she'll make me, I don't know, tasky things here and there that would just add on to my masculinity, which makes no sense now, but I guess that was her way of trying to make me a straight boy. So now that I'm more familiar with sexuality and identity, I know that masculinity and femininity are a spectrum that's so fluid, you know, and they can intertwine. One doesn't have to be, you know, they don't have to be polar opposites. They can, you know, coexist, if you will. In the Latino community, I feel that masculinity has a lot to do with behavior, activity, and, you know, just very superficial things. Like, if you go to the gym, you're masculine. If you have, you know, loud music in your car, you're masculine. Like, stupid things like that. And I think that now that homosexuality is becoming more mainstream, people are starting to change and shift their views of what masculinity means in our community. Because you can be really masculine, but still be homosexual. More recently, I've noticed that it's changing people's perception of what homosexuality is in general. You know, and people are more unafraid to come out. They do so with less fear than was present before. So when I was on a home visit from college one year, I think I was 19, my mother, she noticed that I was really sad and I was really quiet, and I'm usually not quiet when I'm around my mom. And she kept asking me what was wrong? And I wouldn't tell her at all, because there was nothing wrong, but there was everything wrong. And she knew that something was up, so she approached me and she's like, listen, I know what you're going through. You don't have to tell me, you don't have to tell me now, you don't have to tell me ever, but I know what you're, feeling in your heart. and she gave me a hug, and I just broke down into tears, and I'm getting emotional right now speaking about it. And I knew from that moment that I had my mom's support, you know, and as soon as I did that, I was more comfortable with myself. I felt like a weight was lifted off of my shoulders, and I was so relieved, and it felt nice to finally be open.